Okay. I went and put on a jacket because I was freezing. So, okay, so we have our first baby. Taya, the relationship is starting to struggle. I think because I was starting to become a woman, and so I was now a mom, so I had quit partying as much. I had a really good job. We'd bought our first home, and I was ready to be like that soccer mom person, and he just wasn't. He just wanted to party and stuff. So he was doing a good job taking care of the baby. Basically, I worked 12-hour shifts, so I worked 3 nights a week, and then I was home for the rest of the week. But he did do a good job taking care of the baby, but he had his friends over, and they were still partying and stuff. And looking back, it probably wasn't the most responsible way for him to be doing that, but she was always, her needs were always met. So the marriage continues. I basically lose the baby weight, and I start to get some attention at work, and I'm just starting to feel very neglected. We were not well. And he was just, he always felt to me like he had like some hidden something going on, but I just could not figure out what it was. And I still don't know back then what it was. It turns into something else in the future, but basically, we're raising our daughter. We're both working. We're making a decent living for the age that we were at. So this is our early 20s. He's 3 years older than me. So, basically once my daughter was about 4 years old, I decided, well, I would like to have another child. I could tell that the relationship was probably not going to make it. But I did not want to have separate baby daddies. So I basically told Nate that I would like to have another child. This was in no means an attempt to save the relationship. I was straightforward with him and just said, I want to have another baby. We're probably going to get a divorce. Do you want me to have kids with somebody else? He said no. I said, well, me neither. I want Taya to have a sibling. So we made the conscious decision to have another child together so that Taya wasn't an only child, and then I wouldn't basically have children with anybody else. So he knew this is like why we're doing this. So I get pregnant again with our second child. Throughout the pregnancy, this might be TMI, but during both pregnancies, basically he would not touch me during the entire pregnancies. He was super grossed out by it, thought that it was going to hurt the baby. And I know that's kind of normal with some men. The problem was, though, if we weren't having sex, we basically had no contact with each other. So I received absolutely zero affection or attention from him during the 2 pregnancies. So by the time I have our second child, which was another girl who we named Sydney, here's a picture of me and Sydney, she was born in June of 2003. Here's Nate and the baby. Here's us at the hospital. There's Taya meeting her little sister for the first time. Here's Nate and Taya and Sydney. So again, I know every family has their issues and every relationship struggles. We had the baby. We ended up actually kind of not it being like an intention, like I said, to save the relationship, but it did bring us back together again, having that baby. And then as our family was growing, my older daughter, Taya, was getting ready to turn 5. I wasn't happy with the district that we were living in, so I had decided that I wanted us to move so we could try to get to a better district for Taya to start kindergarten. Nate's parents had gifted us some land, so we decided that we were going to build a house on the land we were gifted. So we sold our home, moved in with my mom for a few months to start the building process. That didn't work out. So we ended up moving in with his parents, who we were actually building our home next door to his parents. For the record, I adore his parents. I still am close with his mom to this day. She is like my mom. She's been a part of my life since I was 16 years old. She has loved me unconditionally throughout this whole process, which we will get into in the future. So I just really want to make it clear that I have so much love and respect for his family. So anyway, we're living with his parents as we're building our home next door to them, kind of more out in the country. And it takes a little bit longer than expected for the home to be finished. So we ended up being with his parents for about 9 months. The home gets finished. It's a gorgeous home. I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful home. In about June of 2005. So Sydney's turning 2 now. Taya's getting ready to start first grade. We have our dream home, so everything should be perfect, right? Well, we get into the home. We had quite a bit of equity into the home because of the land being gifted to us. And immediately Nate turned that into a second mortgage, went and bought a Subaru WRX. I mean, he just always was a lot more frivolous and a lot more spontaneous with his decisions. And he never included me as his wife in those decisions. He would literally just go out and buy a car and not ask or even inform me. He just did whatever he wanted. Again, we're working at our same jobs. We're making more money. You know, we're middle class, living the American dream. 2 kids, a dog, a beautiful home. But there was just something missing. There was just not that connection. And his drinking had gone to spiraling out of control. So, you know, we were pretty much just living different lives. I was being the mom. I was taking care of all the mom. Basically, the raising of the children was now on me. I was still working 12-hour shifts, but I had gone to day shift. So I was at work during the day when the kids were at school and at daycare, and he was at work, and I'd come home and I'd basically cook dinner, clean, do laundry, take care of the kids, and he would be out in the garage drinking upwards of 18 to 24 beers a night. So, our relationship started to unravel pretty much over the next years from 2005 to 2008. So by the time we got to 2008, I had just literally had enough. And, you know, I was expressing this to him. I was just craving so much attention, and I'm not making excuses for myself, but I'm just letting you know where my mind was. I found myself constantly susceptible to wanting to have an affair because I was getting attention from other people, and I would also use that to try to get his attention. So I would do it, and then I would immediately go tell him. I wasn't lying because I wanted him to be jealous. I wanted a reaction out of him. I wanted him to come after me, to show me that he cared, to show me that he loved me, but he honestly really didn't do that. So finally I just said, you know what, I'm moving out. I was having an affair. He knew, like I just said, I told him about it, but I wasn't going to be with this individual anymore. It was just kind of like the catalyst for change. So I went and got myself an apartment, moved out, and he gave me the reaction that I had been looking for. It was just like, I'm so sorry, don't leave me. I'll make changes. I'll quit drinking. He started reading Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, and started meditating, and he really was showing me that he wanted to make these changes. So being the idiot that I am, I immediately moved back in like 2 months later. But now I'm in like a long-term lease in an apartment. So it kind of screwed up our finances a little bit. Although when I started to get ready to move out, we were starting to experience some financial difficulties, which at the time I did not understand because there was no reason that we should have been. Nothing in our income had changed. Nothing in the way of our bills had changed. But all of a sudden we were short money all the time. So I should have been noticing these things and putting 2 and 2 together, but I just wasn't. And I thought the only problem was his alcohol. So I moved back home, and immediately, like the minute I'm back home, he goes right back to drinking again. And literally within the month of me moving back in, our home was burglarized. My video is going to time out again, so I'm going to pause here and I'll pick back up in just a minute.